Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. With me this morning, two guests, Mr. Kurtis Adigba, lawyer and public affairs analyst. As always, thank you very much, Kurtis, for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And communication consultant, Mr. Ademola Adegoke. As always, Ademola, good morning, and thank you for coming.
Good morning, Yori, and good morning, viewers.
Indeed. Now, we look at the ENDSARS report, the leaked ENDSARS report that the Minister of Information, and consequently the federal government, has commented upon. The report isn't out yet. You know, we are just maybe 1 day short of 7 days to the white paper, because when the report was submitted to Governor Sanwo-Olu, the Lagos State government, because they, among other states, had instituted this panel, Judicial Panel of Inquiry to look into complaints, one against ENDSARS, and then about ENDSARS, and two about police brutality. There were two reports that were submitted. Now, the governor had said that in 2 weeks from the date of submission, and there's about 1 week left of that now, there will be a white paper. Now, everybody's expecting this white paper, but there has been plenty of commentary out there on a leaked version. How authentic that version is, only the government and maybe Justice Doris Okuwobi and her panelists will know. But just about everybody has commented on it. Foreign governments, Amnesty International, rights groups. And then the Minister of Information, it was a surprise press conference yesterday. He came on and he rubbished the report. He likened it to, it was derisive. He likened it to Tales by the Moonlight, and he said it was little more than a regurgitation of all the allegations by Nigerians out there, just been packaged and have now come back. Wow. Well, a number of issues have come up. Why didn't the federal government, why didn't it wait for the white paper so that we can then know what we're commenting upon? When the U.S. Secretary of State had visited with the president, our president, he has spoken about this, and Mr. President had said that we won't comment now. We're going to wait on the white paper. But then yesterday's event happened. Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information, he went on and said that virtually he rubbished it. It's no news to you now, I'm sure. You know. Let me ask my guests what they make of the fact that the federal government, even before the white paper, has joined the rest of the people in commenting on the Okuwobi Judicial Panel of Inquiry.
Okay, so first and foremost, the panel was set up by the Lagos State government to unravel, amongst other things, the allegation that the massacre happened at the Lekki toll gate.
That's right.
And so you expect that for a panel that was set up by the government of Lagos State, made up of some few individuals who sat down, wrote their reports, you will expect that they could control the environment in which that report was written and ensure that that report was submitted to the government without it going public by way of leaking. Now, how did that happen? That happened because the panel probably didn't believe in the government that appointed them to do the job. And they felt that it was necessary to go ahead of the government by putting out the version out there so that Nigerians can already have the information. And on the basis of that, members of the international community are beginning to form opinion. Like you said, Tony Blinken, the Secretary of State, said it was deeply troubling and wanted the government to do something about it. Amnesty International, of course, has gone ahead to also issue statements. The cake is basically baked in. There are three categories of Nigerians.
Sorry, before you go any further, you did say that you seem to think that the panel itself leaked the report.
Well, who else had access to the report to have leaked it? I listened to a member of the panel on TVC here who said, "Oh, we have three sets of report, and we corrected one version to the other before we made the submission." Who else had access to the report other than members of the panel. Did you have access to it?
Not really.
Okay,
But not really, because I think what most people have access to is the leaked version.
It's the leaked
so who leaked it?
And so how do we know how good the leaked version is? One moment, please. I say that because Jelilio, Abiodun Jelilio Wonikoko SAN,
the
counsel to Lagos State government. I saw him on television, and he himself, has queried the leaked version of the report. Most people have only seen snippets of it. Very few people that are not insiders can say they have seen the entire report. I think I saw something of Femi Falana or SAN also saying that, it's an excellent report, but I don't know any more than that. That was just a headline that I saw. So what do you think of this matter in terms of how it got out there? People are actually, by innuendo, pointing at a member of the panel that leaked the report because of his, just as he said, maybe not trusting that government would do the needful.
We do a good job of the report.
But Owonikoko has, what is it now? Categorically denied the veracity, authenticity of that report, because he was a member of it, and he said there are so many things in there that are strange. So here we are talking about a report that we haven't seen, but that was leaked in bits and pieces.
You see, I've told this conversation about the report. Well, it's been since last week, and I've been telling people that I always like to talk on issues from an informed background. That, you see, for now, whatever we are saying about the report is is only based on the snippets, like you said, that we have seen. Immediately it was, even the media is making a mistake, because in one of the papers referred to the report as, that in their report this morning, they said with the release of the report, of the report on ENDSARS protest to the legal, the report has not been released.
That is a fact.
It has only been submitted, and immediately it was submitted, Lagos State government, set up, another panel to, review it and issue a white paper
by the Attorney General of Lagos State,
and issue a white paper,
and we'll issue within 2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks,
and we have 1 week left.
That has not happened. And because we all, want to sort of jump the gun now, to react to a report that is not even yet official.
Okay, you know what? I've got to go on a break now, but stay with us, please, because we're going to take your calls as well, see what you think. But in the meantime, we've got to go on this break. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. In studio here with Kurtis Adigba, lawyer and public affairs analyst, and Ademola Adegoke, communications consultant. And we're looking at the Judicial Panel, the Justice Okuobi-led Judicial Panel of Inquiry set up in Lagos State. It wasn't the only state that set them up. A number of states across the country also set up these panels. But the Minister of Information, and consequently, quite frankly, the federal government has slammed the report that we don't really know about yet, in the sense that the white paper that was expected 2 weeks after the submission to Governor Sanwo-Olu, we still have 1 week of that left, but the Minister of Information called a press conference yesterday and virtually rubbished that report. Kurtis, I want to ask you, you're a lawyer, Lai Mohammed is a lawyer, and we have this situation on our hands where we don't have the white paper of a report yet. And I bring white paper in because Mr. President himself cited it to visiting U.S. Secretary of State that we're going to wait on the white paper before we go forward. Why do you think the federal government jumped the gun and has started commenting, before the white paper?
Okay, so the answer is basically in the introduction the minister gave. He said the report is not official, but we have obtained a copy. And don't forget that in the last 2 weeks, the same report has dominated every conversation. Those who were members of the panel are speaking. They are giving one interview or the other. Government officials have responded by saying, okay, we're calling for caution. But then don't forget, that information is powerful, and you don't want the cake to be fully baked before you try to undo it. So the federal government, of course, is going to be accountable based on that report. And the thinking of the Minister of Information is that, look, these guys who are putting the white paper together are also Nigerians, and they also hear the chatter, public chatter, that is on the newspaper, is going on in the sitting rooms,
on radio, on television.
So it is better we go out there with our version, what we think about this report, so that in putting their reports together, they also have the benefit of our thinking.
Okay, but which reports are they given the benefit of their thinking?
Obtain the copy of that report. The federal government has the capacity and the reach to get any report they want to get.
Because this is a point that has been made elsewhere. Governments should have a sort of platform with which they speak with each other. I don't think, as you have just said, I don't think it will be too much of a hassle between the federal government and the Lagos state government to actually know what's in that report. Of course, they interact and say, look,
we need a report, give us
a copy. Yes. But Mr. Adeyemi has called in from Ikorodu. Did I get that right? Mr. Adeyemi, yes. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Okay.
Thanks for the opportunity given me. I used to think that you have your special people that always get through to your program.
Now you've seen that's a lie. Now you've seen that that's a lie.
Now, yes, because I've tried severally and I never got through. But I see that as it may. On this report, I think one of your co-debaters or the discussant,
my guest,
is getting it wrong. Yes, one of your guests is getting it
wrong. How do you mean?
Owo is not a member of the committee. Whatever the name of the lawyer is. That lawyer
Jelili Owonikoko SAN is a counsel to the Lagos state government at the panel.
He was not on the panel. That was what we had. He was not on the represented government.
So he was present?
Yes, he was present.
He was there. He's an eyewitness to all proceedings.
To give evidence or whatever, or to lead people in evidence. It wasn't on the stage on the panel.
Okay, so what's the point you're making, sir?
Now, the point I'm making is that government is only trying to be wise by half. You understand? Now, are you with me?
I can hear you.
Now, if you look at what, I don't know whether you saw what the Arise television did. They really went around interviewing people that were hit by bullets. Those who survived. There was a particular guy that was amputated. Now, that guy that was amputated, he was there, he narrated, he gave an account of what happened that day, and how he was hit by bullets, he eventually was amputated. We saw the governor,
was the guy at the panel.
Immediately after the incident, going around the hospitals, and he said there were two fatalities, two people, the governor himself said 2 people died. They got said before the setting up of the panel.
They died from what?
You understand?
Mr. Adeyemi,
it might have been leaked. Everything may not, but you can. I mean, for Lai Mohammed to come on the television and want us to take everything that he has said look like and
okay. I hear what you're saying, and thank you for calling in, Mr. Adeyemi. Really appreciate what you're calling in, but I don't want us to get into the specifics of the panel of inquiry's work. I want to concern myself. I think we should concern ourselves on this program with Lai Mohammed, the Minister of Information, and consequently the voice of the federal government, acting the way he did yesterday by going out there and, quite frankly, rubbishing the report.
This is the problem with this issue. 3 categories of Nigerians on the ENDSARS report.
Okay.
The believers, the non-believers, and the proof seekers.
Okay.
The believers believe that everything that has been put out there, we should accept it, hook, line, and sinker. Don't ask questions. Just believe it. If you ask questions, you are an incarnate of the devil. The non-believers say, look, everything that has been churned out, or tissue of lies, they have no evidence. The proof seekers are simply saying, we are not saying there was a massacre or there was no massacre, but we are looking for evidence to prove that indeed something happened.
Okay.
If you arrest soldiers who went there on the order or on the invitation of the governor to enforce a curfew and put them on trial and said a massacre happened, in a court of law, as distinct from the street courts, which is what I call public opinion, you will need cogent and concrete evidence to prove beyond reasonable doubt that indeed the massacre happened. Do we have that evidence, even on the basis of the report that we have?
Exactly.
Yeah,
on the basis of this should we call it a report? Because Governor Sanwo-Olu or the Attorney General of Lagos State has not said that the report out there, leaked out there, is indeed, a good report.
It's indeed an official report.
But he didn't deny.
The
Commissioner of Information did not deny. He only called for caution and patience.
Yes, but I've heard Mr. Jelili Owonikoko SAN saying that, look, the issue from the point of view of this panel of inquiry was to find out who it was that ordered military men to the place. And to the extent that, they couldn't say that Governor Sanwo-Olu did so. He doesn't have the wherewithal to do so. That they have no issue, that Lagos State has no issue in the matter at all. That was his own submission. But as I said, I don't think we want to get into the work that the panel did in terms of, chapter and verse. But this surprising action of the federal government going out there and, quite frankly, rubbishing the Justice Okuwobi report. Why did they not wait? And Kurtis has given me his own version as to why that might be the case. That it's a battle for the minds of the people.
Yeah, for me, yes, the federal government might have been, pushed or driven by the conversation that is already out there, about this report. But I think that in a matter like this, maybe more patience, could have been exercised on the part of the federal government, especially when the president said that, they will wait, because this panel was not set up by, the federal government. But we know that the panel is actually, about, what about there is no way you discuss the result or the report of the panel without reference to the federal government.
Exactly. Because it's the larger convening authority.
But then, like I've said, perhaps because we know that the whatever that is out there, although Lai says that they have the report, but that is the report. But that is the report. What about, the review, the white paper?
Because we don't know how much of it Lagos State itself is going to accept. We don't know what the recommendations of Lagos State.
So what about the white paper? Does the federal government also have the white paper?
And that is what the minister is trying to do. Yes. He wants to go ahead of the curve. By creating more problem for those who produce the white paper, by saying this is just rubbish.
Elder David,
that's my issue.
Let me bring in Elder David, and I know a number of people might want to call in. We welcome all the calls that come in today. Elder David in Alimosho, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead quickly. I suspect a number of people want to call in today.
My own contribution is those who leak out the report. What will they gain when the Lagos State government have not reviewed it? Even your own station was a victim of this ENDSARS. This very station here. It's your station a police headquarters. The upper of Lagos house was burned out. Is a police headquarters. So many things were involved. Those who leak out, what do they gain? They have nothing to gain. And what the federal government said is correct, because all these things happen in 36 states of the federation, while Lagos State owned. So those who actually leak out the report, who were trusted with this type of report, shame on to them if they are Nigerians.
Okay.
That is my own contribution.
Thank you very much, Elder David. One of the things that the Minister of Information complained about is that in the report that he must have seen, he says nothing was mentioned about innocent people, innocent victims of the ENDSARS campaign, businesses that were burned, and by extension, courts, buildings, court libraries that were wiped out. He says he didn't see anything like that. He said, even on the contrary, they now have situations of people being awarded compensations that weren't even victims at all and testified as much. So I have heard some other journalists say that attitudes like that would be, they're just picking things that seem to agree with their own perspective.
Maybe we need to revisit the terms of reference of the panel. Maybe we need to revisit, their terms of reference, because there are so many things.
It was to get to the bottom of the cause.
Okay.
Of the cause of this, and all those, as Lai himself, Lai Mohammed said yesterday, all those allegations and accusations that are out there, subject them to professional analysis and let us know what is what, which is which.
Because there are so many things that probably Nigerians, will have expected will be contained in the report that we are not hearing anything about.
That was Lai Mohammed's contention.
And I don't think that even the panel delved into those issues, even in their sittings. For example, you will expect that something will be said about the number of police stations burned, police station killed, in the course of the, apart from the people that that died at the Lekki toll gate. So but for me, I'm not saying that people did not die at the Lekki toll gate.
Lai Mohammed is saying, and by extension the federal government is saying as much. He is saying as much. But before you come in, Curtis, let me bring in Vivian, who has called in from Port Harcourt. Good morning, Vivian.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in, madam.
Yes, and I'm happy to be, I'm happy to speak my mind. The truth is that in this program, in this issue, whether the result is leaked or not leaked, Lagos is just one state. There are carnages in other states. But the truth of the matter is, even in America, that we so much copy, before a president will say something, the reporters will even leak some of the information in that report. So whether you reject the report, you don't reject the report, people know what is the truth. Lai Mohammed can continue to be saying what he's saying. We know the truth. We are not fools. And we will reply them very soon in Nigeria. We are not fools. The one they killed in Lekki is not even, it's a fraction of what is happening every day in Nigeria. It's a fraction. And we are getting to the full bust. Because everybody is tired. Everybody is just tired in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Vivian, for calling in.
Here's the point. Again, I go back to the three categories of Nigerians on this issue.
On this issue.
If you are a believer, the cake is baked. If you are a non-believer, the cake is fully baked. If you are a fence-sitter, you are still looking for information.
For information.
And this is the reality. Don't forget that when it happened, this lady, the DJ Switch, said, I saw 78 bodies. 78 people were killed and the bodies were moved away. From the leaked report, it says nine persons
died.
Yes. These are material facts that when you take this issue to any court, evidence will need to be provided. From snippets that I have seen, even some of the names mentioned are not complete. Ola, Olu, just like the minister also observed.
Yes.
Now, what is important is that, look, all of us are emotionally anguished on this issue.
Yeah.
Even the death of one person in Lekki should be something that should trouble all of us.
Oh, you really?
But you see, we need to have the evidence, and people need to be sure that what exactly happened there happened. You understand what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And asking for that is not too much. Like I said, look, it's neither here nor there. If you are a believer, you will say, oh, Lai Mohammed went ahead of the curve. If you are a non-believer, you say, oh, he did the right thing because he needed to put a government position there so that those putting up the white paper can also take a few things from there, into consideration. So
but the fact that it was a judicial panel of inquiry, the evidence part of it is also important.
And that is
also
why
to forensic experts.
That is why it should never have been leaked.
This is the whole point.
This should have gone straight to the Lagos State government that set up the panel. And Lagos, don't forget that on the day the governor received the report, he said for emphasis, this is the first time I'm seeing this report.
Exactly. He said it. And he said he was immediately setting up this panel to be headed up by the Attorney General of Lagos State
to do a white paper.
Exactly. We'll go on another quick break, but we'll keep on taking your calls. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And we're looking at the federal government commenting through the Minister of Information on the Justice Okuobi Judicial Panel of Inquiry in Lagos. It wasn't the only one, but this is the one that's in focus right now, simply because the federal government has, commented on it even before in the submission of a white paper, meaning that the Lagos State government has studied the report, digested it, drawn conclusions, and has made recommendations. None of that has gone down yet, but the federal government has rejected the report. In fact, I don't know what this really means. If the federal government has rejected...
no, they haven't.
They
haven't rejected the report. What they are saying is they're pointing to the contradictions in the report.
And
so until the white paper is out, you cannot say they have rejected.
But the Minister of perhaps perhaps I should take what you're saying, you know, with a technical view, that indeed you might be so. But the Minister of Information has said that it was tales by the moonlight, fake news, recycled fake news,
waste of taxpayers'
and
money.
a waste of taxpayers' money. And that if this was what they were going to come up with, what have they been doing for 1 year? And he said further that no evidence has been submitted that would make them change their mind.
I think he probably oversubscribed the words he used.
Okay. But meanwhile, I have a guy in the UK waiting to come on. Ade in the UK? Good morning. Good morning, Ade.
Yeah, good morning.
Please go ahead now.
Okay. My own comment is this. Please, we need to be very careful the way we comment on this issue. You see, because we are talking about human life. Either one person died or half person died, somebody died. Apart from that, those that their business were affected, that went into chronic depression, many of them must have died. Some of them have even died financially. So don't let us be talking inside of the government.
Nobody is talking on the side. Excuse me, Ade. We're simply, you might have heard, you might have seen the Minister of Information, and effectively that's the federal government commenting. We are simply reporting on the federal government commenting on this report before the white paper is out. We're not adding anything external. It's out there in the public domain.
I know. What I'm saying is this. Either document leak or not leak. In Downing Street here, in number 10, document leaks there before the Prime Minister tell us anything. The press already have it. So it's not a new thing. Don't emphasize on leakage or no leakage.
Okay.
Let us talk at the side of the people. I
hear you. Well, thank you very much for calling in. I assure you, Ade in the UK, we're not on any side here. We're simply on the side of the news. That again,
analyzing what
the three categories of people responding to this issue.
Exactly.
If you share a contrary opinion to any of the groups, then you are an evil person. You know, you are wicked. You don't have children. That's why you don't know what it means to lose a child. I have 4 kids, and I know what it means for me, for any of my child to be injured, not even killed. That person will also have to injure me.
Yes. So what are people talking? So the federal government said that nothing has happened from the leaked report that it has. Nothing whatsoever has happened that will make it change its mind. That will make it change its mind on the situation that we have on ground here. So that really is what we're reporting on here. And we are asking ourselves, why has the federal government, why didn't it wait? And ideas have been proffered.
My issue with the Minister of Information's reaction is that he has reacted in a way that people, you know, now even you said he rejected the report. Because
that's what he did effectively.
He rejected the report. But the fact of the matter is that yes, you have right to pick holes, you know, in the report to say this and this. But you know, one will also I insist that I would have expected, you know, Lai to have said, okay, we have our doubts about the report, but we will still wait. You know, we have our doubts for this reason, for that reason.
He was a lot stronger than that.
You know, we will still wait for the, you know, white paper on the report. We will wait for the white paper from Lagos State government, and you know, by the time the white paper comes out, then we can now have, you know, a full.
Well, you know, that was what everybody must have been preparing for.
The Honorable Minister of Information, as we know, is not a man who is shy to go into a knife battle with a gun. So, I mean, he wanted to live in the intersection of fiction and reality, and the fiction and facts. And you could argue that he went overboard.
I think he did.
In how he described the report, but it's a matter of perception, really. Because you see, for the minister, the matter was firmly in public court. It was It was an opinion issue. You know, it wasn't. The minister was not before a court of law. He knew that he was not giving evidence. He had a document that he poo-pooed. He just wanted to destroy the document and say, "Listen, this was a panel, a judicial panel of inquiry, and that he expected that they will call for real, verifiable evidence. But all they did was just to harvest the chatter that was already ongoing on the social media and reproduce it as evidence."
That is Lai Mohammed
that's
version.
exactly what he was saying.
That's what he was saying.
But the question is, and that is where we tend to disagree.
And we have
should
also
he have wailed in the first place at all? And if he needed to, should he have gone to the extent that he went? That's your position.
No, that's my position.
And we have also heard from members of heard from members of the panel who have said that they are not going to comment. Members of the panel, they are not going to comment until a white paper is released. And that they just refuse to comment because they are saying that they did a professional job of work and that they've submitted the report, and they're not even, I was watching television yesterday, they're not even going to say whether or not it was, it was an accurate reflection. Although the minister, and by extension the federal government, just looking at one of the headlines here at The Nation this morning, federal government rejects Lagos ENDSARS panel report, says it's fake news, waste of taxpayers' money. Yeah. Now, of course, the members of the panel are disheartened by this. I have, who's on the line? Mr. Olaleko in Idimu. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah.
Go ahead quickly, please.
Hello.
Please go ahead.
Why is it longing things about this ENDSARS issue? Because justice delay, justice deny. Are you getting me? Now, I am an Uber driver, and we were all at Lekki Toll Gate, going on store and off store, walking around that axis until when we had the curfew before we left there. And we left thousands of people at that very particular place that night. What happened to those people there? Let's treat facts. Please, we are all civilized, living in a civilized state. Please, let's talk true. Let's shame devil.
He left today.
Please. And the Lagos State governor has come to declare that nobody was died, nothing was happening. Again, he came back. I have the copy of the newspaper that all the people that died, they come and take their cups. Where does he get the cup? Number 3, the army said invited them. He said he did not invite them. Why are we parabolating? Please, for God's sake, we all know what is happening. We all know where they are going. 2023 is at the corner. That's why they want to brainwash us. We know where we are going. Give them some time. God will judge. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. The Minister of Information was saying yesterday that there is no evidence as far as he can see, and that means
the caller also didn't give any evidence.
Yes,
he said he left today.
And exactly,
he left. So leaving thousands behind.
These are the issues. I want it to be clear that we are not looking into the issues that the panel was supposed to be looking into. We're looking simply at the federal government's reaction this early in the game, so to speak. That is before the white paper, and that's what we're reporting on, and what the minister said at the press conference that he called. So it was a public event, and the point of view of the minister is that no evidence
all over the world,
and he's maintaining that
government can actually go ahead. Let me tell you,
he's saying that people were not killed.
There was a trial in the U.S. of a young man who had shot 2 people in Kenosha, Rittenhouse. The president of the United States had gone ahead to describe the young man as a white supremacist, even before the jury gave their verdict, and said the boy was acting in self-defense. And that puts the president in an uncomfortable position. Now, Jen Psaki yesterday had to say, because of the boy's relationship with the alt-right and different white supremacist organizations, The president was right in describing him so. Now, the point I'm making here is that those who are saying the mere fact that Lai Mohammed described the report as a waste of taxpayers' money does not mean that the federal government had rejected. You see, he's reacting to what is in public domain now, the leaked document. When we get the white paper, okay, whether that white paper is accepted, the report is accepted by the Lagos State government or not, we create the environment in which the position of the federal government will actually be known. So what Lai is trying to do is a damage control. And this was not necessary at all if the report was not leaked.
But he called it a triumph. He called it, among other things, a triumph of fake news. Just looking at one headline this morning, the Vanguard, I'm just looking at part of the headline. He says the Lagos panel report is a sham and cannot be acted upon.
You see, my problem with the Minister of Information's reaction is that by the time the white paper comes out,
yes,
and actually, you know, and it corroborates some of his own position. You know, when the white paper comes out,
we don't even know if it will do that.
No, if it does, that I'm not saying if it does. If at any, you know, if in any way it corroborates his own position, it will now look like a predetermined position. Because for me,
I hear what you're saying, but Mazio Korafo, good morning, sir. I don't want to keep you waiting much longer. I'm sorry, I'll come back to you.
Okay. Good morning, Oga Ademola.
Good morning, sir.
Oga.
Okay.
You say, whether the federal government accepts or not, if you want to prove what I'm saying now, go and Google CNN News. That was the whole of October. You see that any spot they show where there is a corpse, you see them circulate on the screen. CNN, that was even last week, then BBC focused on Africa. But the question is this. Look, I'm still repeating it. General Collins, the late one that just died, is in this month of the United States of America, the former Secretary of State. After the Iraq, what happened? He said he accepts the good and bad that what happened in Iraq because he was the commander in charge of Iraq. Why is it that here in Nigeria, when some people will start blaming, look, when Americans climb down on Nigeria, people will start coming, hi, they are this, that. The question is, no matter whatever we say or do, anything that goes on will come down. This is what they call the law of boomerang effect and law of clemency. What happened is this in Nigeria. It happened. People were killed, and the authorities accepted. Now, I'm expecting the federal government to sue CNN for saying they brought the wrong news, but they didn't sue CNN because CNN still said they stand on their story. But the question, let us accept that killings happened in Lagos. But the source of those our brothers and sisters that died, may their parents, the government should know that implement the report. If the justice exists and justice, the federal government or the state government, they must implement it. Whether the federal government accepts or not, Nigeria is our country. We must follow everything constitutionally. Federal government obey the report. Keep to the rules of regulation that you must compensate the people. Go back home and just take the people, the parents, and say, please, it has happened. Please forgive us. That is the system. Nebuchadnezzar, go and read today's reading. Today's the one of Catholic Church. Today they are talking about the story of Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar feel he has arrived. At the end of the day, when he started happening, he started for him to be praying for him. Government should go and read today's reading. Nebuchadnezzar, go to the story from Genesis to Revelation. The story about Nebuchadnezzar is a fact.
Okay.
And that is what is happening now in Nigeria. But what you see, sir, I'm just being authority concerned. Lagos State government, forget about the weather minister, implement the report of what happened in Lekki. People were killed. Go and watch CNN. You see the capital, they wrote it there. Let the federal government sue the CNN. If they say what is
all right. Mazio Korafo, thank you very much for calling in. Are you still there? We heard what you said. Thank you very much,
Why
Mazi.
would the federal government even see CNN when there are local news stations that were live on the ground broadcasting? What, did the panel even summon any one of them? Do you understand what I'm saying? There was a guy who was reporting before, during, and after the events at Lekki.
Live.
The panel did not summon the guy. Nobody has summoned the guy to say, what did you see? All we've been doing is to say, oh, you know, yes, people were killed. Oh, people were not killed. Oh, I want evidence. this will continue.
And the federal government, going by what Lai Mohammed said, is still persuaded that nobody died at Lekki. That much. Like he said,
yeah.
He said you produce bodies.
No,
he said, how can people die and there are no bodies?
You see, like I said, you know, the first reporting said 78 people were killed.
That's right.
And soldiers carried their bodies away.
That's right.
Now, from what we are hearing from the panel is 9 people were killed.
Okay.
Now, at the cost of evidence,
yes,
at the panel sitting, the chief pathologist, Professor Bafunwa, said that I watched on that day that 96 bodies were brought into him all over Lagos.
Indeed.
And that he performed autopsies on them. But look, how many people died at Lekki? He didn't say. You know, and then there was also the figure of the governor saying that the governor said 2 persons died, they had gun wounds. Now, the people who testify at the tribunal, so I would have wanted this report delivered to the Lagos State government quietly without anybody leaking it, and then government will review it and come out with a white paper. And that white paper will give us the opportunity to begin to look at exactly what happened.
And the federal government seems to be saying that, look, if people died in that whole saga, they have people. The analogy was made about if anybody's goat is missing, you will look for him, not to mention a whole human being. So why are people not coming forward on behalf of their wards? That was what Lai Mohammed put out yesterday, and that's what we're reporting on. That's what we're examining.
Now, on the emotional ground, I think people respond differently to different issues. I've heard this argument, you know, oh, the parents are poor people. They are afraid of what the government will do to them. Let me tell you, Mr. Yori, and I say this to all Nigerians, there is nothing anybody can do to me if you kill my son or my daughter. I will come out.
I think most Nigerians are
I
like
think
that.
the only thing you can do is also kill me with my child.
So,
because you see, we watched the panel. There were individuals who went there to complain about how they were brutalized by police. And some of them, of course, the cases were established. They have been compensated by the government. So, again, why I'm not saying, like I keep arguing, why I'm not saying that there was a massacre or there was no massacre, I tend to agree with Lai Mohammed on that position. Why are the parents of those who were killed there not stepping forward? Why are they not coming forward? What are you afraid of? That they're going to kill you? They've killed your son or your daughter already. If you believe that happened, come out.
The Minister of Information referred to this particular incident, and he said he just couldn't understand why parents, guardians of such people or relatives would not come forward. Then the point was made about the whole investigation, about mistakes being made. Some people being referred to as having been killed but then showing up. Somebody, at least one person was reported to have been compensated, but the person now said, I'm not a victim really, I've only come here to testify. So all of those problems of confusions, maybe all of that is what the Minister of Information is making him say that nothing has been indicated or shown that would make it, I mean the federal government, change its mind.
Position.
Yes, change its mind about the position it has taken, that incredulous as that might sound to a lot of people, that people didn't die at Lekki as is being alleged, and that if it did, then you need to provide evidence. This is just reporting on Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information's statements at the press conference he called yesterday.
My position remains that, well, we have not had access to the real, official report.
Then what was Lai Mohammed reacting to?
So you wait. Now, the thing is, I do not know the evidence that the panel attached to its report. And none of us here knows yet. Whether maybe, for example, the panel said 9 people died. What evidence are there, or what is the proof of evidence?
Were killed. 9 persons were killed.
Were killed. Were killed.
Were killed.
At Lekki.
Yes. listening to Alhaji Lai, he said there is no evidence of that.
No, but how does he know that there is no? Anyway, he says he has the copy of the report.
What he said is that even those that they said died, their full names were not mentioned.
Exactly.
They just said Ola, Olu.
Okay.
But is that the official report?
Ada in Jos. Okay, madam. Good morning.
Ada calling from Jos. Good morning to all of you. I'm happy I got you, but I've almost given up. You know.
Good morning.
This ENDSARS thing. Let me tell you something. Any responsible government should have not been hasty in replying to that report if it is a leaked one. They should have waited for the white paper in the first instance. And then again, some of our ministers, they need a dose of emotional intelligence. Even if he was so excited or what to report on it, he short of words. You know, what can you say? Fake news, waste of taxpayers' money, tales of moonlight. I mean, it's ridiculous for a government. You know, that's my own view. I don't know. All I want to say here is that I listened to one Sarah Ibrahim, a chief witness at that Lagos Judicial process on Kakaki today. And she said that there are terms of reference, that they have another report, that the terms of reference for this particular one that they released, that leaked out, which is not some of the things that have problems, the tidying up, the White House. That the terms of reference was just restricted to that Lekki shooting. And most of the military people that were involved, they did not even produce them. The police, they didn't produce them. So what are we talking about? All I know is that when that thing happened, I watched it too on CNN and the rest of them. I know that people died, but I don't know how many people that died there, as far as I'm concerned. So for a father and somebody who is in his 70s or whatever, he says that nobody died there. It's too hasty to make that kind of math. So my own this here is that I'm appealing to the United States of America or any of the international bodies. At the end of the day, those who are found culpable in that Lekki shooting, they should slap them with a moonlight sanction. Yes, let them slap them with a moonlight sanction.
Okay. Kind of, Ada, thank you very much. Got the point you're making. Thank you very much. Lai Mohammed also said yesterday that in relation to some aspect of it, that the U.S. that is even saying some things, would it accept similar kind of reports? It's like he wasn't backing down.
I think some people some people continue to think that Nigeria is a backwater of some foreign countries still. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. Look, if there is conclusive proof that people were killed and soldiers killed them unlawfully, I think we'll have a judicial system that can take care of that.
Indeed.
You know, sanctioning people by the U.S., as some used to call, is not a big issue.
Okay.
Countries have their different challenges.
You know, we're going to have to leave it here, even though we've hardly scratched the surface. But then we wanted to be careful to not go into the work of the panel itself and just react to the public statements of the minister that nobody died and that it was a hatchet job. And even though Kurtis takes exception, we still say that the federal government effectively has rejected the report. Curtis might take exception. Was it you who took exception? But I mean, what more? So we got to leave it here. I'm sorry. I know that there might be other things that you want to say. We'll see if we can get hold of the minister himself very, very shortly, and maybe he can come and expatiate a bit on it. That's the program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.